Rain fell like liquid glass over the rooftops of Vharanor, the industrial district that clung to the city's southern edge like rusted armor. The factories below groaned with the churn of steam vents and clattering pistons, each exhale mixing with the cold mist to birth a haze that swallowed streets whole. Iron bridges spanned between crooked towers, their skeletal frames glowing dimly from the lanterns strung across them. Workers moved beneath, their faces hidden under soot-stained masks. Kyle crouched on a rooftop ledge, his coat dripping with rainwater. Beneath him, guards in bronze exosuits patrolled the perimeter of the gilded forge, the smelting compound owned by Baron Fell. The man had once been the Empress's supplier of refined crystal fuel, but now his factories burned day and night to supply the new council's armies. Fell had profited immensely since the coup, and Kyle's whispers from the underground claimed the Empress's crystal reserves had been brought here to be processed into weapons. The objective was simple: infiltrate the compound, retrieve evidence of Fell's dealings, and, if possible, eliminate him. Kyle tightened his grip on the dagger he'd taken from a dead guard days before. Its handle was carved from black crystal, faintly humming, responding to the mark on his hand. He took a breath and blinked. Kyle's vision warped, the world folding in on itself as he teleported across the gap between rooftops, his shadow lingering like smoke. He landed silently behind a rusted chimney, his boots barely making a sound on the wet iron. Two guards stood near a catwalk below, their brass visors reflecting the orange forge light. "Fell wants this batch loaded by dawn," one grunted, hauling a crate of glowing crystal shards. "These things ain't right," muttered the other. "He says the shards scream when they're cut. Don't you hear it?" Kyle listened, and indeed, faintly beneath the pounding of rain and metal, came a whispering hum from the crates. The crystals resonated with his mark. They were alive. He descended silently, leaping down onto the scaffolding behind them. A gust of steam hissed from a vent. Perfect cover. As the vapor enveloped the walkway, Kyle blinked forward, appearing behind the first guard. One quick, clean motion, dagger to the throat, hand muffling the gurgled breath. The second turned, too late. Kyle's left hand glowed blue, and with a flick, he froze time for a heartbeat. He stepped past the suspended raindrops, drove his blade home, and let the world resume. Both bodies slid silently into the black water below. Inside the factory, molten light poured through iron grates. Machines clanged and roared, pistons pumping rhythmically, while workers moved like ghosts through the fumes. Kyle kept to the shadows, climbing chains, slipping between conveyor belts, and using short blinks to cross open floors unseen. At times he paused to overhear snippets of conversation. "Baron's got his meeting upstairs. The councilman from the guilds arrived early." "You mean Lady Core? Thought she was staying out of this mess." "Aye, but Fell pays well. Gold makes saints out of sinners." So they were working together. Another piece of the puzzle. Kyle climbed a maintenance ladder toward the overseer's balcony. Sparks showered from a forge below, lighting his silhouette in gold for an instant. He crouched at the top, listening, voices inside the office. Baron Fell stood before a massive desk of polished iron, his body wrapped in an elegant coat trimmed with red silk. His left arm gleamed, a mechanical prosthetic powered by a swirling crystal core. Across from him, a woman in a white coat adjusted her gloves. Lady Kor, the alchemist who had once developed tonics for the Empress's guard. "The plague grows stronger," she said. "Your shipments keep the city burning, but the crystals taint everything they touch." "Nonsense," Fell spat. "Power always has a cost, and if that cost is a few thousand workers, so be it." Kyle felt rage rise. His mark pulsed with heat, whispering in his veins. He could end this now. He blinked through the window, glass shattering in a burst of rain and light. Kor screamed and drew back. Fell turned, reaching for a revolver mounted with a crystal battery. Kyle moved fast, faster than he ever had. Time slowed, his senses flaring with supernatural clarity. Bullets tore through the air like glowing comets. He twisted, blinked behind the Baron, and drove his blade into the man's side. But Fell's mechanical arm caught him mid-swing, metal fingers crushing his wrist. "Traitor's guard," Fell hissed. "You should have died with her." The arm's core flared, a blinding surge of crystal energy, and Kyle was thrown backward, smashing into a cabinet. Bottles shattered, spilling glowing liquid across the floor. Kyle rolled aside just as the Baron fired again. The blast scorched the metal wall behind him. With no time to think, Kyle blinked behind a pillar, drew his short crossbow, and shot a bolt directly into the crystal housing on Fell's arm. The explosion was instantaneous. White-blue light filled the room. Fell screamed, his arm tearing apart in a burst of molten shards. The shockwave shattered the windows. When the smoke cleared, the Baron was slumped against the desk, his chest heaving, one side of his body charred. His last words rasped through the haze. "You think this ends with me? You'll drown before the truth surfaces." Kyle looked down at him, then turned toward the desk. Among the scattered papers was a sealed document, marked with the emblem of the Trade Guild Council, and beneath it, a letter bearing Drax's name. The room began to burn. Kale pocketed the letter, blinked through the collapsing glass, and vanished into the rain. That night, as he stood on the rooftop watching the forge burn, he could see the faint silhouette of the city palace in the distance, its windows dark, guarded. Somewhere inside, the Empress's daughter was still alive. Kyle clenched his bloodied glove. The voice from his dream whispered again, soft, like breath on the back of his neck. "Vengeance is a river, Kale, and rivers only flow one way."